Let's turn to the book of 1 Thessalonians chapter 5 as we continue our conversation of grace. 1 Thessalonians chapter 5 verse 24, I'll read it for you from the Amplified Translation. And this verse is a beautiful verse for you to remember and to keep in front of your life, no matter where you are, whatever season of life you may be in. This is a verse that is so beautiful and something that we should all remember. Faithful is he who is calling you to himself and utterly trustworthy, and he will also do it, fulfill the call by hallowing you and keeping you safe. Utterly trustworthy, and he is faithful. These are words that are so beautiful and they describe God. And it tells us that he will keep us safe. He will make sure that he takes us to the place that he wants to take us, and he will fulfill the call on your life. And that's kind of what we've been looking at in Ephesians chapter 2. The path that we are supposed to take, we don't know that path, but we know that God has predestined that path. We know that he's prepared it, and we know that that place and that destination and that journey in itself is perfect. So this is a verse that I think reminds us that even in those moments where you feel like you have no faith, even in those moments where you feel like grace is just not available to you, you don't feel compassion, you don't feel love towards you, you don't feel hopeful, you don't feel peaceful. In those moments, remember and hold on to this verse that says, he is faithful. The one who has called you to salvation is faithful. And to demonstrate how faithful God is, I'd like for us to look at a man from the Bible. And I think that we can learn a lot from this man. And his story begins in Genesis chapter 6. So let's all turn to the book of Genesis and turn to chapter 6. I'm going to read for you first verse 5 to verse 7, but I would encourage you to read the full chapter. In fact, read the entirety of Noah's life. And you can see how grace and faith really work in the life of Noah. Genesis chapter 6 verse 5. Then the Lord saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every intent and the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. And the Lord was sorry that he had made man on the earth, and he was grieved in his heart. So the Lord said, I will destroy man whom I have created from the face of the earth, both man and beast, creeping thing and birds of the air, for I am sorry that I have made them. How sad of a passage is that? God, who in Genesis chapter 1 looks around at everything he's created and says, it is good. Everything that I've created is good. The same God who said that after the entrance of sin, after corruption entered, after the devil was manipulating creation to be against God and to work against God, God looks at man and God looks at everything he's created and he says, I'm sad and I'm sorry that I made it. And so the Bible tells us that God was ready to destroy the world. He was ready to destroy all the people. He was ready to destroy all of the animals. But what I want us to remember is verse 8. It says, but Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord. Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord. That is such an important thing for us to remember. We live in a world that is full of corruption. We live in a world that sin really is turning the eyes of people away from him. And it's making them fix their eyes on things that they truly do believe are good, or they truly do believe are a blessing or peaceful or hopeful. But they are things that lead further and further away from God. However, Noah found grace in the eyes of God. He went against the social norms of the time. And verse 9, it says this about Noah. Noah was a just man, perfect in his generations. Noah walked with God. Despite what was around Noah at the time that he lived in, Noah decided to pursue God, and that made him find grace in the eyes of God. Today, I encourage you to challenge the social norms that you may be in the middle of and pursue God with force. Whatever that may look like to you in school, in the workplace, with your friends, with your family, whatever you feel pressured to do, that you know God is not going to take pleasure in seeing these things. Challenge that norm and challenge yourself and choose to pursue the perfect way that God has planned for you. And I know that you will find grace in the eyes of God. God bless you.